So yeah, that was Hahli. That's Hafu. Move these guys to the side and talk about the truest couple in Barnacle, Macku and Hewkii. Aren't they a cute couple? Let's see if we can make them hold. Actually, can we get them to look like they're holding hands? There we go. No. There we go. They're holding hands. Not really looking at each other. There we go. There we go. Aren't they such a cute couple? Okay. I don't care what the creator of Barnacle says. Let the characters pair. Let people have let characters have relationships, romantic or otherwise. I don't care that they technically can't reproduce. That doesn't mean they can't love each other. Okay. It's just kind of weird when you do stuff like it's weird. And for people who are sitting there, saying it's weird when you give relationships to non-living creatures, and it's weird when you don't. In all honesty, it's weirder when you don't give these characters because these are characters that have full-on emotions. Like they're people. They have sentience. They're capable of self-awareness. They're creatures like you and me. The only difference is that they're mechanical. I mean. Why? Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they develop feelings for each other? They're capable of doing that. They're creatures of free will, capable of developing emotions and feelings for one another. And sometimes it goes beyond just the platonic notion of, oh, I love you like a brother, or a good friend, or a father figure. Why can't it be like, hey, I want to have you be with me, even though, I don't know, depending on which canon you're talking about, they do have mouths, so I mean, they could kiss. There's nothing stopping them from doing that. There's nothing stopping them from technically kissing through the masks. I mean, just put them up and make the noise, right? Look, look. There's also different ways you can show that kind of love and emotion towards them. Just sometimes cuddling is enough for some people. Imagine for these mechanical beings, it probably would be. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at Hahli first. Technically, I guess you could say this group, the lesser character, the secondary character, much like how Hafu was in the previous group. She's got a modified Koli staff, much like Hafu. Didn't think about how I was going to do this when I did this. Okay. Wrote myself into a corner there with that spike there. The spike at the end of the spikes at the end of Hahli and Macku's and Hewkii's staves are supposed to be like they're what they use to grab the ball, the Koli ball with, so that they can perform stunts with tricks with them. I guess technically speaking, if we only give them to the heavy characters, the heavier staff, then yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, I guess that's how it would justify it. So we'll just take the spike away from Macku because she's got a lightweight staff. It's not really designed for. It's not really designed to carry the ball. I guess, yeah. Okay. On the spot, making up of lore. Isn't that great? But yeah, she's got another modified Koli staff. This one's designed to be even more lightweight than Hafu's, which will actually show up right here. This is partly because I was running out of pieces, and also because I wanted to make something a little more unique. And so I made a more unique staff. Hers is a little more lightweight, where Hafu's doubles as a crafting tool, an item he can use to chisel and create artworks. He has that dual use mentality. Macku's is made primarily just for Koli. It's barely combat ready because that's all she had time for was Koli at the time. Koli and teaching Gali clever puns. That's for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about. There's this fan animation called Water Pressure on YouTube. It's done with I believe it's done with the actual Matsunui online game assets. And it goes through with Macku and another character, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. Try to cheer up Gali, who is going through a bit of a depressive mood because, she's a Toa, she's supposed to be great and awesome, but at this point in the story, she hasn't collected a single mask. And so she's a little sad, even though she, completely saved the village on her own by this point. And it's just such a good animation, and Macku is, it completely made me a Macku stan. I fell in love with Macku, and she's such an amazing, awesome, hyperactive character. I love her. Speaking of Macku, let's go back to here and we'll discuss some of the designs some design compromises I've had to make. So Macku normally is just straight up all blue. Had some problems with doing that because I don't really have any other. I don't really have a whole lot of blue parts that would work for what I want to do with her. Right here, particularly, you see the purple leggings here. Don't have any of those in blue. I don't have enough of the smaller blue pieces in the size. I think I want to say it's the size 5. Yeah, the size 5 pieces don't fit for the legs I want them to be on. They don't fit. They'd actually interfere with the foot. In fact, I can actually go ahead and show that off right now. And right there, it's already at its max. And if we try to stand her straight up, doesn't really work out. Can't really go too much further back either, because trying to go too far back makes them flop over. So can't really do that with the size 5 or higher pieces. Gotta do this with a size 4 or smaller, size 4, size 3. Actually, couldn't think. I'm not really sure what happened with a size 2 or 1 with the. Do they have size? Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen a size 2. Lego has some weird numbering systems when it comes to some of the pieces. So those are I should probably check to make sure you can see this on camera. For those who are wondering about the number, you can't really. You can almost. Let me see if I can. You can almost. Nope. Gotta refocus. Yeah. Gotta manually focus this thing. Sorry about that. But underneath the ball joint piece here, you can see a number, and that's the size of the piece. It makes it easier for you to tell the difference between like size 4, 5, or 6 piece, because they're all kind of the same, similar design. I believe all the shell pieces, except for this one, have a number on them, and that's again to make it easier. The same applies for these joints pieces here. They all have numbers on one side or the other that indicate what shape they are. That one, for example, is size 3. You can read the size because camera. But I officially ran out of things to talk about for Macku, so let's move her aside and talk about Hewkii. Hewkii is the other of the main characters in the Matoran quad. I was going to say trio, but no, there's 4 of them here. And you may notice some interesting things about Hewkii here. One being, he doesn't have dark orange pieces. Again, I had to work with what I had to work with, but I also wanted to pay homage to his his Anika and Mari form, and so I gave him some orange and some yellow. I believe those were both involved with his one of those forms. And again, customized much like with everyone else. You can just start to talk about Macku's customization with some blue along the bottom here to kind of match with Hahli's up at the top. But yeah, going on to Hewkii's here, gave him some black here and there to kind of match with the fact that he uses a lot of black color in his design because brown characters didn't sell well. So instead of taking the brown character and turning them orange or something, they decided to turn them a mix of black, orange, black, yellow, or something like that. Yeah. It's a bit weird looking back on it now. But yeah, so another thing you might notice is he's got a bit of a crystal arm thing going on here. Yay! Because it wouldn't be a Leovok original if they didn't have crystal arms. Except this is a canon character, so he's not really original. He belongs to someone else. Oh well! The crystal arm he got from an accident. This is actually Kokoro elemental ice instead of the normal Gakoro water elemental, crystallized water elements. There's not really much of a difference. It's the same thing. But it's just like he happened to have those in Kokoro that he had the accident. The little blue gem here is a gift from Macku. So even when they're apart, they're never truly apart. It's kind of like a memento sort of thing. The two claws on here is a reference to his Mari form, which has the two things on his shoulder. Like I said, this is the MacGuffin, I guess you could say, at this point in the series. Instead of dealing with the Borak, at least other the Borak on their own as an entire fleet, they go off trying to find out what this strange thing is for, and they had to find the throne of Matanui, which we'll get to that. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that eventually. So yeah. As for Hewkii's Koli staff, this is a heavy Koli staff. It uses a Gakoro hook to grab the ball, and it's not quite as reinforced as Hahli's. It's a bit lighter. It doesn't contain the front pieces. But it's still classified as a heavy staff, so it can at least grab the ball with the hook and do other things with it. This is a two-handed. Should mention, much like with Hahli's staff, Hahli's Koli staff. It is technically a two-handed weapon or two-handed tool. It can be used semi-one-handed for certain trick shots, but it's really more of a two-handed weapon. Two-handed item, I should say. Technically not a weapon. So they can be used as one. So yeah. I don't know why I bothered changing. Yeah. And put this away, it goes away like so. I really had trouble figuring out how to do it in a way that makes it cohesive. And this, actually, I think it was pretty cool when it's put up as well. Looks very unique. But yeah. And so yeah, that has been the Matoran quad group, the foursome. Not sure I want to use that word now. Not sure I want to use that word. We can get these two to hold hands again before we. There we go. That was much easier. Yeah, so we got the Matoran foursome. Hahli, Hafu, Macku, and Hewkii. I am really surprised I haven't messed up any of their names this time. For those of you that may not know, who don't watch my previous episodes, I often do multiple recordings, so yeah. Previous recordings, I messed up at least someone's name every single time. Usually Hafu and Hewkii I kept mixing up because they both start with H. It's kind of messing me up. I'm surprised I didn't get Hahli mixed up with anyone. But I guess because like Hahli, I know her enough from the movie. But yeah. And in fact, she was the first one I built of this core group. But yeah, let's see. Outside of that, we'll probably get into some more information on the Codex and the key in later episodes. And we'll definitely get into what the Throne of Matanui is, because that's very interesting to have to keep saying out loud. We'll get into that as well. So yeah, and oops, stuff from the side's falling through. But yeah, we'll get to all that at another date. In the meantime, I'll see you guys later.